Thank you for listening to the Ask Annie Show. This is Annie Roth, your real estate specialist with Beam Real Estate and Beam Mortgage, NMLS number 336327. Every Saturday, right here on KGGR 1040 AM from 2:15 to 2:30 p.m., the Ask Annie Show is sharing valuable information to assist you in buying, selling, financing, and refinancing real estate, whether it's residential, commercial, or special use. On the Ask Annie Show, we also discuss foreclosure prevention, credit improvement, and down payment assistance. If you have any questions or concerns, you may reach me immediately after the show at 214-347-3107. Again, the number is 214-347-3107. If you're outside of the Dallas-Fort Worth calling area, dial 1-855-54-ANNIE. That's 1-855-54-ANNIE. Or visit my website at www.askanniefirst.com. www.askanniefirst.com. Today we have Sheree as our guest. Sheree, thank you for joining us on the Ask Annie radio show. How are you doing today?
I am wonderful, Annie. How are you?
I am great. Today we are talking about accomplished goals. I just want to have you on the show because we have had a lasting relationship and it has turned into a friendship, and I am so grateful for that. And I wanted to have you on so you could express to people about your experience in purchasing a home, the loan process, and working with me as far as reaching your real estate goal. So can you just share a little bit with everyone how your experience was?
Absolutely. Just to back up a bit, I have been within the banking and mortgage servicing industry for the better part of 20 years, and being on both sides of the fence as a servicer but also as a consumer, we experience things that normal everyday people experience. And myself personally, having gone through some financial upsets and being laid off at one point and even going through a divorce, my experience with yourself and the rest of your team has been very refreshing because there was a personal touch. I think what was most important was my ease of sharing information and disclosing anything and knowing that it was protected, but it was used to help get the right information to the lender and get the right result in the end. We started with trying to purchase a spec home from a builder, and once we got through the process and realized we had some other things that I needed to take care of personally, it was decided that we would start the process over with a brand new build in the same neighborhood, and we ended up getting exactly what I wanted in my dream home, but as well, the better rate, the better deal, and ultimately the better experience across the board. So I was very appreciative and still am to this day.
And that's good because one of the things that I remember most about you and working with you, Sheree, is that you did disclose information. And sometimes people think that I need to conceal, but as you said, that when you disclosed that information, we were able to take that information, and if there was anything that needed to be positioned in a way where the file was okay with the underwriter, we could address that. And because of that open communication, you're at your goal. Tell me what areas became frustrating in this process, and then what kept making you want to endure to the end to reach your goal?
Well, I kind of consider myself to be a file rack, not a pack rack, but a file rack. So I keep everything filed. I electronically save a lot of information, and sometimes we did have to repeat and restate a couple of things and making sure that it was crystal clear to the underwriter. And I think moreover it was, here's the information, Annie. If you need to share it, share it. If you don't, at least you have it. And so we were able to fully disclose whatever was necessary because there was nothing hidden, but moreover, to make sure that, I didn't become frustrated in the process. And it can get very tense towards the end because we've been here and we wanted to make sure that we had a very tight timeline to work on as well, that we didn't miss anything. And so your reassurance and just your expertise was trustworthy enough for me to just let go and let God and let Annie do what y'all needed to do.
Well, I tell you what, we had to put a lot of prayer sometimes, because, and that's what people, that's what they don't realize is there is a personal touch. I see files come through. I see people, circumstances, and situations because you had a lot that you were having to deal with just in regular life that was coming up.
Yes, I had brain surgery in the
Hmm.
course of it all, and
Hmm.
just being upfront about this is what may be, and I may not be able to coherently speak to you for weeks.
Yes.
So whatever you need, take it now.
Yeah. And then I remember your car, just life experiences happened, money that was needed actually to close on the deal. Things started happening unexpectedly with life.
It sure did. I had
Hmm.
$3,000 worth of car repairs within about 45 days of closing, which absolutely set me on edge a bit. But again, that personal touch, and going back to my personal and career experience, I have about 1,000 or so employees, and when you think about it, we don't have loans in front of us. We have
Yes.
families, we have people, and
Yes.
that's the differentiator when you have someone that can be not only a trusted advisor, but someone that can be an advocate for you,
Yes.
because you have that personal investment of your own reputation and your name
Yes.
associated with my deal. So
Yeah.
I appreciate that, and I'm very, very happy. My family's happy. We're moving forward, and we probably will have some future plans that will involve Ms. Ross.
You're listening to the Ask Annie show on KGGR 1040 AM every Saturday from 2:15 to 2:30 p.m. If you have any real estate questions or concerns, you may reach me, Annie Roth, immediately after the show at 214-347-3107. If you're outside of the Dallas-Fort Worth calling area, dial 1-855-54-ANNIE, ANNIE, or visit my website at www.askanniefirst.com. ASKANNIEFIRST.com. You have a gorgeous home. I mean, that house is so beautiful. You did an excellent job. You had a goal set in front of you and you did not stop. And it got tough along the way. There was a lot of different challenges to happen. I remember that even in the personal, if you don't mind me sharing, your father got ill in the process and he's out of town. So we're trying to close, we're trying to get everything situated, and things were just coming up that was beyond your control that would normally make a person say, I give up. What made you
Exactly.
keep going? Because you were at your goal. If there was a team effort and you were the most important part of the team in not giving up. What kept you going?
Well, I first and foremost, I have to give reverence to God because He keeps me sane
Yes.
and grounded. And so when I feel like, okay, there's something else coming, I just have to pray about it and put it into perspective. But keeping that open door of communication with you, we knew we had a deadline and I had to get there to be out of town and out of state at doctor's appointments and things of that nature. We were able to express that to our lender, and they actually showed compassion and were able to move some things around and then kind of prioritize me in front of some others, which I could appreciate because it doesn't happen frequently within this business. So, yeah, absolutely. Just remaining focused and resilient. When I look at my two children, that's the ultimate thing. I can't show myself to be a quitter in front of them because I don't allow them to give up even when it gets tough. So, it all comes back to the goals and the expectations that you're raised with. It just translates over into every aspect of life, and it certainly was true here.
Well, that is great. So, how did you feel once we finally made it to closing? And then, some people think that when you get to closing, this is all over, there is nothing else. It's like there were just different challenges along the way, but when you got to closing and we was there was a determination to see it through to the end. How did you feel at the closing table and then when it finally closed and when you heard
It,
you heard those words funded?
it was so surreal. As a matter of fact, I remember at closing. I don't know if you remember this. The computer died in the middle of them printing off all of the documents, and it was a
Yes.
long holiday weekend. I think it was Good Friday, and
Oh
I was
yeah.
like, nobody is leaving out of here.
Yeah, and they
I
were.
don't care. I think the normal closing is 45 minutes an hour. I probably was
Yeah.
there a good 3 hours and with a smile on my face,
Yes, yes.
and I was not leaving until it was done. And I
Uh,
think ultimately I was relieved. I was
yes.
tired, but
Mhm.
it was good to say this is checked off of the list.
Yes.
And so my goals to build and purchase my dream home
Yeah.
were realized. Even though I've been a homeowner before, I've never had one to this magnitude, and one that I can say that this can go on for the duration, and the children and my grandchildren
Yes.
ultimately someday.
Yeah, and it was beautiful. And talking about the title company, that was a challenge there because we were there finally at the closing table. And then it was a holiday weekend, and they were scheduled to close early. And they had put us in because, we were still dealing with you had to get out of town. So everybody was rearranging schedules just to get you in. The lenders was rearranging, trying to get documentations there early. And when we get to the title company, the computer, they're like, okay, we can't get any documents off the computer. But so
Yes, so I just figured it was another test, and
yeah.
if I had been through all these others, that was not going to deter me, and so just kept a positive outlook, and Annie just held my hand and told me to go grab a Happy Meal and come back.
And it closed, and you are now a homeowner of a beautiful home. You're listening to the Ask Annie show on KGGR 1040 AM every Saturday from 2:15 to 2:30 p.m. If you have any real estate questions or concerns, you may reach me, Annie Roth, immediately after the show at 214-347-3107. If you're outside of the Dallas-Fort Worth calling area, dial 1-855-54-ANNIE, ANNIE, or visit my website at www.askanniefirst.com. ASKANNIEFIRST.com. I always tell people that purchasing a home or closing on a loan to me is similar to having a baby. And I know you have children and you've been through that process. How do you compare the process to having that baby and then the end results after you've gone through all of this labor, delivery, the caring of the baby, and then the baby is there in your home? When you're home, the joy of what you have is worth what you went through. How do you feel about that?
That is a perfect analogy, and I think we actually said that some months ago. So yes, it really was, the fruit of the labor, the pains and the aggravation, and sometimes just the weight of it all. Even as a woman, we feel weight when we are carrying, children, and right before the end, it's like if anybody puts another ounce on me, I think I'll pop. And I kind of felt like if they ask me for one more thing, I think I'll pop. But we get through, and yes, we birthed a dream, so to speak.
Yes.
So I think that's probably the best way to sum it up.
Well, that is great. I am so proud, and I'm really honored that you allowed me to service you. I know sometimes people think, oh, this is just a cliche or this is just something someone is saying, but I count it an honor and a privilege when someone allows me to work on their files with them. And I just want to let you know that I thank you. I consider it a blessing to be a part of your family. I've met your fiance. I spoke with your mom. Your mom was so nice at the end. I had these flowers, didn't know where they came from. And I'm calling, and it came from her, and she was wonderful. She was very wonderful.
Well, I think it's to whom much is given, much is required. And so you gave much to us out of your personal time and effort and just, commitment. And so it's been a mutual blessing. So I'm glad to say that we have come through this, not as client and servicer, but as friends. And so you have my commitment and my support in everything. And I just hope that you continue to use this as your platform to bring other people into what they hope and dream for, and that they know that it can be done. Just be open and upfront, and trust that you've got the person in your back pocket that you need to make it come to reality. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Sheree. Thank you for being on the show today. And again, as always, congratulations, and you are a wonderful person.
Thank you, Annie.
Thank you for listening to the Ask Annie Show. This is Annie Roth, your real estate specialist with Beam Real Estate and Beam Mortgage, NMLS number 336327. Every Saturday, right here on KGGR 1040 AM from 2:15 to 2:30 p.m., the Ask Annie Show is sharing valuable information to assist you in buying, selling, buying, financing, and refinancing real estate, whether it's residential, commercial, or special use. On the Ask Annie Show, we also discuss foreclosure prevention, credit improvement, and down payment assistance. If you have any questions or concerns, you may reach me immediately after the show at 214-347-3107. Again, the number is 214-347-3107. If you're outside of the Dallas-Fort Worth calling area, dial 1-855-54-ANNIE. That's 1-855-54-ANNIE. Or visit my website at www.askanniefirst.com. www.askanniefirst.com.